adventurers. Welcome to episode 33 of Adventurous Spirits. This is entitled Adventures in Affirmations. Affirmations. Here on this weekly musical podcast, we come together to discuss adventures. The whole challenge of working with the adventures that life hands you and going deeper into the adventures that you want to have that have yet to really materialize in your life. Hopefully that makes sense. It's one of those things, you know it if you felt it, you know it. But we're here to support one another in that endeavor of not just longing for adventure, but going out and getting it and sharing it with others. And today, I'm curious what your experience has been with affirmations, the concept of positive affirmations, where you basically repeat questions or phrases in your life. In your life. What does that mean? In your mind, not in your mind, but actually speaking them out loud in an attempt to help bolster your courage and your faith in the thing that you hope for. So I'm curious, what has your experience been with affirmations? Have you given it a try? Have you just said, I don't believe in that? Because I will tell you, I am new at this. I have just kind of gone down the affirmations route within the last week, and I find my own reactions to it very intriguing. It's like there's this resistance, even though these are statements that I believe, like logically, I believe them, but there's like an emotional resistance to trusting that. So I'm intrigued and curious about the process of speaking them and saying them over and over again every day with an effort to see if my feelings change, if I start to have a little more faith in myself and in the world around me and in the great creative force that I call God, Holy Spirit, the spirit of creativity and love that made us all in the first place. Will my feelings, will my emotions, and my beliefs start to align more closely with those phrases? I'll be more specific soon, but I'm just curious if you're listening live or you're tuning in later. Let me know in the comments in the chat. Yes, I have tried affirmations, or no, I haven't tried affirmations. I'm skeptical, or I'm intrigued. What's your reaction? So I'm going to play you a few affirming songs and see what sort of reactions these bring up in you. This is one that I play a lot, but I think it is appropriate for today. So they told me I should work from 9 to 5 to stay alive. Toe the line, bide my time till I'm finally 65. Well, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Tell you what, I didn't like it very much. It took some time to recognize I'm cut from artist cloth, and I am called to be exceptionally creative in everything I do. It's not a choice I made, it's a life I'm made for. A roller coaster ride to heaven's door. Miraculous, enticing, comfort sacrificing, and every day I ask for more. Oh no, sometimes you cry, hang your head and sigh when best laid plans are compromised. Just close your eyes, don't criticize, it's fine, though every a surprise. Oh, 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 I wonder if we can identify with that idea of that critical voice coming in when things don't go the way that we expect or that we hope or that we plan. And it's easy to start looking for things that you did wrong or reasons why you should have foreseen what was about to unfold. And yet, maybe this is a time to just let those critical voices dissipate and speak back to them and say something positive about ourselves. Like, instead of this critique of my behavior or my thought process or my strategy, does it actually help me do better to critique? Maybe I critique and then I follow it up with something like, if I had known all the information, I would have acted much differently. And yet, I worked really well with what I had. I encountered those surprises with grace. I communicated, and everyone was served. Something to think about. Life is so much more than knowing what you're doing, where you're going. Be open to the possibilities. Hustle, bustle, toil, and trouble feels productive in a bubble. Wait, let's reevaluate. People, places, thoughts, and feelings out of nowhere. Humans being torn apart and put together. I don't wanna miss it, whether life looks how I think it should or not. Oh, 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 oh. How does hope feel right now? And we were called to be exceptionally creative in everything we do. It's not a choice we made, it's a life you and I were made for. A roller coaster ride to heaven's door. Never know where it's gonna go. Miraculous, enticing, comfort, sacrificing. Tell me, what else are we living for? Oh no, sometimes we'll cry, hang our heads and sigh when it's just way too much surprise. Just lift your eyes, watch the sunrise. Some things can be relied on, even if every freaking day is a surprise. You know, we really love a good surprise. Even if we're not sure yet if it's good. It's just a surprise. My question is it possible for this surprise to be good? Or do I just assume that it's a bad surprise? Sometimes I am just way too quick in there with my like, this surprise is terrible. What are your reactions to these thoughts? Locked behind bars of her fixed circumstances, she sings to the forest while gazing outside. But the story's not over, the end's yet to come. She can let her hair down when love comes around. Locked in a tower as high as the sky, as she watches the world pass by. Stuck in a room full of great expectations, she drops all pretenses and has a good cry. Overwhelmed by the sheer impossibilities, bound by a promise and caught in a lie. But the story's not over, the end's yet to come. There's beauty and grace in this dreadful place. Just got an error, but hopefully this is still working. There's beauty and grace in this dreadful place, spinning and spinning and spinning again. Who knows what will happen then? And burning with mission, she marches through treacherous paths in the wild. Waylaid by cunning and cruel devices, she falls for a trap laid by dangerous minds. But the story's not over, the end's yet to come. The monsters at night are more bark than bite. The story's not over, the end's yet to be. Look beyond what the eye can see. And so, my dear listener, when you hear this song, remember your tale is still going on. Thanks, Steve, for your answer to my question. Steve says, I'm not great with affirmations. I know they work for some people, but from what little I've experienced of them, they don't seem to be right for me. I can definitely respect that answer, and I think I did a little bit of poking around on the internet. Again, my experience is very limited. I was mostly just researching what do people say about this. Is it helpful? Are they frustrated? I think I can see two sides of it. There are probably more sides. I think one, it depends on what the affirmation is. And two, it depends on how I'm receiving it. If it's just something that I'm reading, I think there might be extra power in saying it. Again, given my very short experience with this, I'm just going to offer a few thoughts for contemplation and just to also let you in on my own journey, because I feel like I'm just experimenting, y'all. I'm experimenting, and I love that we accountability for me as well in my process, my journey as an adventurer. So this whole concept of belief, when you think about the stories that I referenced in the song I just sang, sometimes it's easier to have faith for someone else, to see someone else's potential, to see, oh yes, you're part of this grand story, of course I'm rooting for you. It's a little harder to see that for ourselves, especially when we're still in the middle of our story. We don't know how it's going to turn out. We might get little peeks here and there. And I think we all kind of start out with high hopes, with grand visions. But then, inevitably we run into obstacles, whether of our own devising or because other people put them there, or just because that's how the world is. The world is full of obstacles. And sometimes they're part of that butterfly cocoon that we are struggling to emerge from and developing our wings. And then other times it just feels like a sledgehammer. It's just like, it's just knocking me down. I don't know how to get back up again. And it feels kind of dangerous to hope. That's been my experience. Like, you realize how much energy it takes to be disappointed. And so just almost as a safeguard, I find that I protect myself against hoping too much for things, which there's something about saying that out loud that also does not feel good. It's like, if I'm gonna believe something wrong, if the potential is to brainwash myself to believing something wrong, I already believe some wrong things. So maybe this is just choosing a more helpful direction to believe. But from what I can tell, in my very limited research and experience, these affirmative phrases are really less about making something happen in my life or my world, and more about giving myself some inner reserves, some strength of character, some strength of spirit, some resolve to pursue change in my life, to pursue the changes that I really want to see. Because there's something about being an adventurer and wanting to be the master of your fate that can actually lead to a very roller coastery existence of, I have so much power, to feeling I have zero power. I feel completely helpless. And I definitely bounce back and forth between the two. If I have a proposal that goes out and it gets accepted, I'm like, whee, I can do anything. And if I get 17 no's in a row, then I'm like, I can do nothing. And it's just really debilitating. It's paralyzing. It's hard to kind of get the courage up to try again. So I find the particular affirmations that I have been given and that I feel most drawn to that I'm about to share with you, they're just things that help me have faith in myself. And they're things that I do believe, like when I just am left to myself and I can consider them logically, unrelated to my feelings, unrelated to my beliefs about myself and the world around me, I can say objectively, yes, I believe this. This is possible and this can be true. It has been true before, it just doesn't feel very true right now. Which is part of the cycle, right? Like, I get discouraged, I get frustrated, and so it's harder to try again. the affirmations that I've been saying and are more aspirational. They're things about me. They're things about my intentions and my character that I really want to be true and are sometimes true. But because they're not true all the time, I feel a little less comfortable saying them. But here's a few, see if these resonate with you. This one that I really love, and when I say it with gusto. So this one is, I grab my life by the horns and push through all barriers with confidence and courage. Like a lot of times, guys, I do not feel like that strong person that's just going to be like, let's do this. But when I'm about to go and have a hard conversation or call someone that I don't know or present a proposal that I invested a lot of time and effort in that I don't know if I'm going to get any traction with or even a response, I need to have this kind of faith in myself. So I think this is something that is worthwhile repeating even if I don't feel it. And then here's another one. I see possibilities all around me and bring them into my reality. Whew, how's that one? That one is that's a toughie. But also, I do see possibilities all around me. It's the bringing them into my reality that I have less confidence in. But hopefully a little bit more confidence as I actually do it more, as I see those results. I'm just going to do two more. This one says, I am the wise and thoughtful authority in my life, and I create with humility and confidence. I can totally get behind that. I think if I can trust myself to make smart decisions in my business and in my creativity, more often than not, I do make smart decisions in my creativity and in my business. Even if I don't immediately see the payoff, the quote payoff. And I do want to do those things with full confidence, with full authority, with full humility. I want to present something because I believe in it. And I want to present something because I trust that it will help you. That is absolutely the attitude I want to have. So just saying these and repeating them to myself helps me remember those important things rather than getting hung up on my fears. All right, one last one. I command my mind to take back my personal power and restore my agency. That's a really good one. My personal power and my agency, just to renew that sense of capability, possibility, that I actually am capable, that I actually can do things. I have this, I'm not helpless. I have power. So that's what I'm experimenting with right now. I made a recording of myself saying those while I played the piano just to have some music background. And then I leave space for me to repeat each phrase as I'm hearing it. And that's been a really helpful way to just start my day. Just very easily slide into things, repeating these aspirational beliefs. I talked to an actor friend of mine who also uses affirmations. He does them more in the sense of a question. So he's like, if you notice sort of like the thoughts that come up in your brain when you're doing something that intimidates you, for instance, an audition, like you're on your way to an audition and maybe you notice yourself getting anxious and going, oh, what if I'm late? What if I forget my lines? What if they don't like me? What if I don't get this gig? Am I really supposed to be an actor? What if you just catch yourself saying that and then you turn it around and start asking different questions like, what if this goes great? What if I meet like people who I really admire and want to learn from? What if I discover this role as I'm doing this audition? What if I have so much time beforehand that I really get to connect with everyone? And just kind of taking all of those surreptitious fears that like to hide out in the dark corners of our brains and make us agitated, and just turning them around just to see how it affects your attitude and your feelings about whatever you're about to do. Because when you're an actor, you love to act. So it's like, let's not let anything take away from that. Let's not give in to the frustration and the things that have gone wrong before. Let's accept every new opportunity as a possibility, as an option. We don't know how this is going to go. Every day is a surprise. Time will tell. And chances are, if I go into it with an open heart and a hopeful attitude, I'll be able to see more opportunities going into it if it goes awry than if I'm going into it expecting things to go awry and then I just feel stuck, you know? So I wrote this song with the idea of speaking to ourselves now, from ourselves, like, 15 years in the future, or 10 years in the future, or 5 years in the future, however far away we are from seeing some of our dreams come to fruition. And it's called Wildfire. What happens next, I can't imagine. Who would have guessed? It's hard to fathom. 10 years from now, I hope that they mention what it took to get here. Took so long to get clear. Falling down, getting back up again. Wondering how we'd make it to the end. Spark after spark burnt out, and now we're catching on like wildfire, taking over the deepest, darkest night with a bright light. No one can touch it, couldn't even stop it if we tried. It's simmering, wanting so bad to want it less. It's riveting how this flame keeps finding ways to stay alive, and it won't die. Taking over the night with a bright light. No one can touch it, couldn't even stop it. It's a wildfire, taking over the deepest night with a bright, bright light. No one can touch it, couldn't even stop it if we tried. Burning, burning. have to believe that those burning desires that are still happening in us, even if it seems like it takes a lot of effort to get them to happen outside of us, they're still there for a reason. I do not discount that at all. And even if we have yet to realize the potential of those deep burning desires, they continue to burn. Those embers are going unaccountably. And so I trust that those are there to help guide us and we're gonna keep following those instincts anyway. May as well commit. I think it is worth it to listen to that part of you that just won't quit. That part of you that refuses to die, even though your brain is full of logic and reasons for why it should, why it's just not even feasible to keep going. There's something in your spirit hasn't gone out. That light hasn't gone out. So let's feed it. And then I trust that eventually that spark will catch. And it will have a life outside of you that can't be stopped. So I want to give you a little bit of a takeaway for today. There's a fellow YouTuber named Bob Baker. I think if you look up Bob Baker affirmations, you will find him. He does these affirmation videos where he just does different topics and does short videos where he's just speaking affirmations and then leaves room for you to say it yourself. And I would recommend, just from my very limited experience, I'd recommend finding one that intrigues you and listen through and just think, do any of these phrases feel like a stretch, like they're hitting resistance in my heart, in my mind? I'm gonna make a note of it, and then I'm gonna sit with it and ask myself, what about this bothers me? Is it because it feels too good to be true? Is there anything that I can see logically in my life that actually makes it seem like this could be true, even if I'm not seeing it right now? Because lots of things exist that we don't see, but they still are there. It might be worthwhile to get a friend involved in this, someone that you trust, someone that can give you some feedback and help you see, yes, this is who you are, this is who you're becoming. I see it in these ways. Because I don't know about you, but I sometimes need evidence. I need reasons. So inviting that logical part of you into the belief might be helpful. But in any case, it might be worthwhile to take a chance on believing something that seems a little too good to be true, just to see if it empowers you and enables you to do things you've never done, or to pursue things you've never been able to realize before. If you could use some friends to be those faithful, believing listeners, I want to encourage you to head over to epiphanyspace.com and check out this artist community that I am blessed to be a part of, thrilled to be a part of this community. It is full of people who do stuff. They're creative and they do stuff. And they've learned a lot from the lessons that go with doing the stuff. It's one thing to know the stuff, it's another thing to do the stuff. So this has been a very vital group of people for me in my creativity, and I heartily recommend them. Also, I do recommend that you go check out Bob Baker and his affirmation videos. I will be taking off next week because I'll be traveling, so we will skip Adventurous Spirits for a week, but that's an excellent time to go and listen to Bob. And regardless, I really do hope that you feel renewed in your commitment to do the thing that you love, to find your way digging through the hurdles, to climb the mountains, to find your fellow travelers and adventurers, so that you can get to that heart of gold, you can get to that gem, to that treasure that's on the other side of it. We're all on our journey together, and it is a true privilege to share this with one another. So I send you on your way. Have an excellent day, an excellent couple of weeks, and have fun out there.